Got a question? Ask Tom on HomeShow Radio.
This is HomeShow Radio live on Facebook and YouTube. Your questions, Tom's answers. Now here's Tom Tynan and Charlie Mosier.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Tynan. I answer your questions when it comes to owning a home. I can't help you in politics. I can't help you at the grocery store. I can't help you when you're driving down the street. But I can help you when you're at the Home Depot or you need something to buy to get something fixed. Because that's what I do. We all have our little jobs in life, and that's mine, is to help you own a home and survive it. Because sometimes it can be tougher than you think. And of course, I'm with my compadre, Mr. Charlie Mosier, who is there with us right. He's waving. He's a man lost for words today. As well as I'm always on the radio. I'm never lost for words. Saturday and Sunday on Sports Radio 610, 9 to noon on Saturday, and 8 to 11 on Sunday. And now, Charlie, I am done. I got it all
Courtesy
out.
of the Texans, who are on 8 to 11 on Sunday. So now that they're done.
Well, they were on at noon, actually, but it was
done.
It was pregame, then you had postgame, then you had during the game, then you had
they're
all the
done.
game.
They're done.
Well,
Actually, it'll be a whole new Texans next year, won't it?
always is.
Didn't they have, I think now, I don't know, now, let's just stipulate if you're new to the show.
Oh, you want to play football now? Okay.
I don't know shirts from Shinola about football, but I do know that they got a new general manager from the once mighty Patriots. So that guy's starting. So
well, if you look at the past coach we had, he was from the once mighty Patriots too.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't know that, did you?
No. Oh, wait, see, meanwhile,
and the Patriots weren't too mighty this year because of the fact that Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. So they didn't even make the playoffs. So there you go. So who's mighty and who's not? It depends what day of the week it is.
Well, spring training is right around the corner. So, and that's going to be our theme today. We're on the S theme today because we've got questions today.
Yes.
We're going to share from HomeShowRadio.com into the Ask Tom section about shiplap, smoke detectors, spray foam, and shiny wood.
Ooh, as long as that's shiny something else.
Okay. But hang on a second. I got to open up my comments and reaction.
But that's what I was kind of going with, shiny, but you know how it goes. Okay.
Right, exactly. But we will take your questions. Leslie just joined us. Hello, Leslie. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Leslie.
We welcome you on anytime on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. Obviously, we're here live. And if you have a question, you can just put it right yonder in the comment section. We'll answer it right here on the program. That is what we do for the next, I don't know, long as we don't, Facebook and Twitter don't shut us down.
Yeah, or my prostate gives out in the middle of it. Yes.
Yeah, the most controversial thing Tom talks about is spray foam, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so let's get right to the questions here. First question comes to us from Pamela in Canton, Ohio. She says, we have a new addition on the front of our house with a metal roof, and on the interior we have scissor trusses that I would like to keep visible for my decor. Between each scissor truss, I'd like to put shiplap and leave the trusses exposed. My question is, how do I insulate under the shiplap for the best R value up here in Canton, Ohio?
It's going to be tough with a scissor truss. A scissor truss is a little bit different than a regular truss. It depends where you want to install your ceiling between those trusses if you're going only between. If you're going all the way up and you want to see the full scissor truss, then you're not going to have the thickness you need to insulate. You're going to have to drop it down, and that means doing some fur downs and doing a few different things, but I think you lose the effect because in Canton, Ohio, you'd have to drop it down probably about 20 inches, somewhere between 16 to 20 inches to get your proper R value because it gets colder up there. Than down here in Houston where we are, and we'd still have to drop it down even here at least 16 inches. So it's going to be pretty difficult to keep your scissor truss exposed, and in fact, I don't see how you could do it, and use the shiplap in between. So you're going to have to compromise, either use a lot of heat and not insulate it to the values that they recommend there, or what you can do is drop it down to the scissor truss and expose part of the truss, but not the whole truss. But I don't think it's going to look very good. So I think you're probably going to have to close them up. And the reason they used a scissor truss, just so everybody knows, a regular truss has a flat bottom, but a scissor truss gives you a raised interior space too. So you can have kind of a cathedral type ceiling inside, as well as have enough space from the top to the bottom to insulate and get that proper insulation in. So they're supposed to be covered on the bottom. That's why you're going to run into some trouble with it, because they're meant to be closed on the bottom. So if you run shiplap across the whole bottom of the truss, you won't see the truss, but you still get that cathedral look inside.
So you get the truss, the whole truss, and nothing but the truss?
So mote it be. I'm not going to get in any trouble.
Yay. All right. Hey, I told you Leslie joined us, and she has put a question. We are here live, by the way, for the next, I don't know, as long as we keep getting
whenever
questions.
you like it.
Yeah, we go for at least a half an hour anyway, or until it gets dark and our wives make us come home. But we take your questions in the yeah, I know I was reaching on that one, but you put them in the comment section. Put them in the comment section underneath, and we'll answer them like we're going to do right now with Leslie. She sent one into us. She says, my siding is falling apart due to poor quality and sitting in water during Harvey. I'm worried about internal damage, and the house is now sinking from the inside. She's got cracking walls. Should we get siding exterior done first or the foundation? I suspect you're going to say the foundation, Tom.
Yeah, it's very simple. You need to stabilize the structure. In fact, after you do a foundation repair, or who knows, maybe you would like to lift your house up 3, 4, 5 feet. A lot of people have done it in the Houston area, especially after Harvey. So that might be something you're considering if it can be done and your foundation isn't too structurally destroyed. So once you get the foundation done, you still have to wait a period of time, let's say 90 days, 120 days, because when you fix the foundation, it will want to settle a little bit back and find its own little sweet spot, we call it. And once that's done, then you can fix the sheetrock, you can tear walls out, you can put siding on, you can do a new roof. The only time that you might do a roof first if it's leaking really bad and causing more damage. But besides that, everything is done after the foundation.
And you probably want to wait. You've always said to wait a little while after the foundation repair to do.
Well, that's what I said. You might want to wait, like I say, 120 days.
Okay,
3 months is usually minimum, 90 days. If you talk to the Dutton family over at Due West, they're the ones that taught me this, that they don't encourage people to start fixing all the cracks and stuff immediately. They want them to wait a little while, let everything kind of, like I said before, find that little sweet spot, and that's what you're looking for.
All right. Leslie says, thank you, by the way, Tom. By the way, look at those cute kids. I don't know. Well, you can't see it probably unless you lean in real close.
I have to get my mic
very close. Yeah, nice Christmas picture
kids
for
are great.
her there.
I've had many.
All right. Well, appreciate you sending that in, Leslie. And you
Yes.
too can do that by visiting. Just go and put it in the bottom. We'll be happy to help you out here. Okay, next question comes to us from Katie. Hans says that my house is 16 years old. He says he regularly changes the batteries in his 5 smoke detectors, but he's never replaced the detectors. So, Tom, his question is, how often do you need to actually replace the smoke detector itself?
The industry will tell you every 10 years, and that goes way back. The new smoke detectors you get today have batteries that last 10 years. So the industry has changed quite a bit. But if they're wired in, and this is my own idea, this is how I follow it. A lot of the systems were wired in when the house was new, and also have batteries that you have to replace also because it's a backup in case you lose power. If you hit the test button and it tests okay, then I think you're probably fine. But the industry will tell you, and sometimes I think they tell you this, so you end up buying new smoke detectors a lot, but it's really going to be up to you to follow this kind of rule. They usually recommend 10 years or so you replace them for brand new ones.
What about carbon monoxide detectors? About the same time span, or those have the longer?
Nobody wants to say anything lasts more than 10 years. They just don't want to say it, you know? So I'd say it's the same rule. You still have testers on there. If you're not comfortable, go ahead and get a new one. But yes, it would be the same guidelines. And the whole idea of changing batteries every year now, if you go buy a new smoke detector, and I just put a couple up in my attic that weren't wired in with the rest of the house, They have now new lithium batteries that you don't change at all. After 10 years, if you test it, it doesn't work, or it tells you when the battery's bad, you can't replace it. You just throw it away and get a new one.
Yeah, I remember growing up, my dad had that garage in New York City. And I remember they used to repack brakes, they used to rebuild carburetors and all that. And long about the time he was about to retire, he says, Charlie, we're not doing that anymore. Everything is remove and replace, remove and replace. The art of repair has gone away. It's like toasters, Where would you ever get a toaster repaired today? There's no appliance repair guy anymore.
Well, I used to have an Uncle Freddie. He's passed away. It was my mother's brother. And he had a repair shop. People would bring him record players, radios, toasters, you name it, tape players. They would bring him vacuum cleaners. And he was just a fix-a guy. He would fix everything for $5, $7, $2. Well, it wasn't a big expense, and it kept him busy. He loved doing it. And he could fix, back then, he could fix anything.
That's good. Them's was the days. All right.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore.
Continue on. These are questions, by the way, we get in our Ask Tom section, homeshowradio.com. I'll explain you how to do that later in the program here. In the meantime, if you want to put something in, go and put it in the comments section. Be happy to hear from you. If you just want to say hi, it'd be nice to know you're out there. Wayne in Needville says he wants to know how effective, Tom, is spray foam insulation for crawl spaces under houses. He's wondering about if it outgasses.
Outgassing, I would not believe would even be an issue, even if it did a little bit. Most of the foams most of the products made in the United States now, outgassing is becoming less and less of an issue. If you get foreign-made products, even plywood, or they had the sheetrock, the drywall for a while that came in from Asia. That stuff is a mess. You get wood flooring. There was a company not too long ago that they said it was formaldehyde-free and met all the California standards, which is a leading standard when it comes to outgassing. And of course, they got caught because it didn't, and they were mislabeling the product. But most of that stuff comes from overseas. If you get it in the U.S., it's going to be probably within a very strict guideline, and that includes the foams too. So would I use a foam under house? It depends where it is. Here in the Houston area, I wouldn't, because all the humidity and stuff. I don't know how long it's going to stay in place. That would be my big concern. But I wouldn't be concerned about the outgassing by any means. I would also be concerned that it doesn't breathe under the house. And Charlie, we get a lot of question about people who insulate under their homes and their wood floors start to rot or start to curl, start to change the whole shape and the whole way they act with the house. And that's because you won't let them breathe anymore. So you got to be careful underneath the house, especially the older ones.
Yeah. So no, if he's in Needville, the answer is no.
No, yeah, that's true to use it. But his question was, should he worry about outgassing?
Yeah, but I mean, he's wondering more about, but do you recommend it for underneath there? And you're saying in
no,
Needville,
I don't. I would not use a foam under a house. I would use it in a basement. I had it in my house in Lake Placid where you could look up under the basement floor and you could see it. But that was a different situation. But as far as that goes, outgassing, don't worry about it if it's an outside product. And secondly, I wouldn't use foam under a house down in the South Texas area, no.
All right, fair enough. Next question comes to us from Racine, Wisconsin. And just the question, the frame of the question in and of itself tells you this is from somebody up north. Alfredo wants to know, can I discharge water from my water softener into the sump pump pit? Not a lot of sump pumps in our slab foundations down here.
Yeah, no, this is probably in his basement, I would assume.
Right, I'm assuming, yeah.
My question is, where does it go from the sump pump pit? This is the question to you, to put it out in your yard. I mean, where is this thing pumping it? Because a sump pump will get to a point and then it'll pump the water to another location. And if he's pumping it out under his apple trees or out in the yard or somewhere like that, it's going to poison the plants because it has a higher salt content. So it depends where it's going. And that's what I don't know. So I can't tell you where a sump pump is going. It's okay if it goes in there. It just depends where it's going to be pumped out to, because it doesn't have such a high concentration of salt that it'll just rot out the basement and the sump pump and all that. But I'm curious to know where it's getting pumped to.
Well, doesn't a sump pump usually pump it into wherever all drains lead to the ocean kind of thing? Isn't that what a sump pump does?
Well, I mean, that's a little that's a little naive. That's a little. I love that.
Of
movie,
course,
by
it's
the way.
naive.
Nemo.
It's like,
Well, where did you say he's from?
Racine,
Where is it?
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin. It takes a long time to get to the ocean from Wisconsin. Okay?
I'm thinking
so
maybe
at that
going to a
point,
lake.
the least of my worries
yeah.
is a little bit of salt from his water softener.
Well, so it's a
I'm sure it
Nemo
has
thing.
a whole bunch of stuff to get to the ocean.
Right.
But as far as that goes, does it go into a sewer system? Maybe not, because I don't think they're going to do that. Because if it backs up with heavy rains, you'd end up having it back up into your house. So does it go to where you drain your rainwater? Like in Houston, where we live, you drain everything to the street. Then the street eventually makes it to the bayou makes it to the ocean. So you're definitely right about that. And I wouldn't doubt from Wisconsin, somehow it gets to the Mississippi and then down the river. But as far as that goes, it depends where he's pumping it. But even mine that I have water softener, I pump it to the street and then it goes down into the storm drain. So if it has a storm drain system, then that would be fine.
Okay, hang on one second here, because I'm going to get you.
He's ITing.
I am.
You're the IT guy.
I got here. Right. I say Racine, Wisconsin. Okay,
Yes.
let's see here. Here we go. Okay, so actually, Tom, I would say it's more likely, judging by this
Yes.
map of Racine, Wisconsin, that
We
water
can't see
is going to be going out. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. It's going to be going out here into
To the Great Lakes?
Michigan.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm thinking that's the
Maybe.
drain.
Or does
And then-
the water from Lake Michigan? No, I don't know. I have no idea. I was going to say, does it go to the
one or the other.
Mississippi?
That's exactly
I
right.
have no idea.
That's right, kids. That's a geography segment for today's show.
I'm not a water
Okay.
flow expert. But yeah, there's
Okay.
Lake Michigan. I know that one, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that the one where the Edmund Fitzgerald went down or something?
I think
Wasn't
so,
that
because
Lake
that was off Chicago. Is that where Chicago's off Lake Michigan?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those uplifting songs that I used to love when I was a disc jockey. That was what we called the bathroom record.
Michigan's the only state that has part of it in the United States and the other part in Canada. Not
That's
really,
right.
but it looks that way when you look on the map.
Actually, yeah, and I've seen that people up in the peninsula have to come down by some sort of... No, isn't that Michigan where you have to come down from the peninsula? Anyway, I'm sure we're going to get letters. All right.
Yeah, from geography teachers.
Right.
Yes.
That's right. Because like when you drive across Texas from Beaumont to El Paso,
It takes 3
800
weeks.
miles or something. Yeah. And when you're
836 miles.
in El Paso, Texas, you're closer to Houston than you are to Los Angeles, even though you've gone that far. So, all
Yeah,
right.
if you're driving across the country and you hit Texas, be ready to drive.
Jay says, I have a 2-story home with a single-stage heat pump, air handler in the attic. The airflow is powerful upstairs but weak downstairs as ductwork goes down through the crawl space. What can I do about that? He
Well, you
says
have to have
he adds, by the way, it's a small home. It's only about 1,600 square feet.
That's fine. All air conditioning systems are designed, or they should be, for the size of the home, which means they're going to have the airflow that's going to be required for that area. Now, it could be something as simple as a return air that's too small. So you're not getting enough air coming into the system, so it's having a hard time distributing it through, not distributing it, but distributing it through the entire house. I just want
Is
to
that
make that
through
clear,
an
'cause I've heard that a lot lately.
Is that through an aluminium pipe as well, the ductwork?
Yeah,
there?
when they're conversating.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is it probably needs to be balanced. And that could mean some dampers and things just to move it from one spot to the other. I can't tell you what to do with it, but if it's time for your air conditioning checkup, they need to do a static air pressure test and find out how the airflow is working and find out how to solve it. So number one, you have enough air coming into the system to distribute it throughout the house. And secondly, if it's going too much in one spot than the other, then they have to put some damper doors in or redirect it somehow to get to the part of the house it's not getting to.
So it's a matter of a return that he's looking for.
Maybe. It might have enough. It might be a matter of some dampers to
Dampers, yeah.
redistribute it to the other parts of the house.
Yeah, we're fixing to do some remodeling in our house, Jay, and we're going to have this issue because we've got to move one of our returns. And my wife says, "Well, just move it over here." And I said, "Well, honey, it's not just the thing that you can see; it's the ductwork that comes to it, and there's some rafters along there that may be an issue with moving that. But we're going to leave that to the professionals."
Just give them a Sawzall. They'll make it for you.
Just run on. Yeah, don't worry about that, George. It's no problem. All right. Anyway, Jay says thank you. By the way, check out that is that a cello he's playing there? Looks like we got some musician here.
No, I can't see. Those pictures are this
you have to
big on my screen.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to stand where Tom is, the monitor he's watching. Jay, your picture's like about this big. If you can,
But that's okay. Nice picture.
Okay, it's a nice
I'm not getting anybody's picture.
Well, Jay, maybe, Jay, you could do a cello, he says. Okay.
Okay,
Jay,
cello.
Well, if you have some original unlicensed music you'd like to send us, we'd be happy to play it on the show. We could use it as a ramp or something. Just make it.
I've had people do that in the old station I was at.
Yeah.
Some of the guys would make up some songs, and I'm like, wow, okay, why not?
Yeah, Tom Hanks in the thing you do, just make it snappy. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The last of our Ask Tom questions, and of course, we're welcome to take more of yours if you want to put them in here, and we appreciate you all watching. Let's see. This one comes from Clemville, Texas, and that's where Rick is. He says, I heard a while back that Tom had a mix to put on antiques to brighten them up and restore them. And by antiques, I assume he means furniture.
Yeah, it's going to be wood of some kind, I assume, and most of that's going to be furniture. It's not really furniture, but I have one that I've restored. It was in my family for now, I think about 125 years. It's the old original icebox that sat on my father's back porch when he was a youngster, and they didn't have a refrigerator, so they had ice that went in there, and I've restored it, and it looks really nice. It's all natural. So I guess that's kind of furniture. Back then, I guess they called it a small appliance that didn't plug in. But the fact of the matter is that the formula that I learned when I was working in a used furniture store that will dress up any kind of stained wood, you can clean cabinets with it. You can do a lot of different things when it goes on the inside of your home. It doesn't work well outside because it'll dry out fast because of the weather. It needs to be in a controlled airspace. But as far as that goes, it's 2 parts mineral spirits, 1 part boiled linseed oil. You don't boil it, you buy it. It's a cleaner oil, kind of like the linseed oil that some of you might have remembered. I do, putting it on my catcher's mitt and my first baseman's mitt to get it nice and oiled up for playing baseball, for that matter. I still have my first baseman's mitt. And I still have my father's catcher's mitt, believe it or not. But as far as that goes, you mix that together and then you apply it with a 4-0 steel wool. Very, very fine. And then you wipe off the excess with just a clean rag. And if you have to spill any, or if you have to wipe some up with a rag and the rag gets saturated, it can kind of smolder. It's a chemical reaction on the cotton. So what you do is you get it all wet, put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it away, and that won't happen. I know it sounds horrible, but it's not a big deal.
I got something.
Are you there?
I'm here. No, I'm here.
I got something. Would the pizza get delivered?
Yeah, no. Listen, I got to get this in the. I got to put this in the shot here. As you can see it. This is something that they gave me yesterday at our little epiphany thing. The guys gave me it's this baseball guy, right? And he's over here, right?
He's using a wine bottle.
Holds a wine bottle.
Nice. Okay.
Now who can't love baseball? All right.
Okay.
Not soon enough. It isn't. So all right. Yeah. Well, that's cool. So, yeah, you've used that now. I think one of the things you said, did you talk about the combustibility of that? I got distracted.
Yes, I did. You were playing with your toys.
I was going to get the toy to show you. All right.
To get rid of the rag, it won't combust on wood. It's not really combustibility. It just smolders a little bit.
Okay.
And, you just got to be careful with chemicals, but it's not harmful unless you don't drink it or anything, and don't smoke cigarettes while you're applying it. I used to have to say that a lot. I don't say that much anymore because a lot of people just don't smoke anymore.
But it soaks into it, permeates into it, right? I mean, it doesn't just sit on the surface like a shiny
2 things.
Thing, right?
The mineral spirits cleans up the grease and the debris. The linseed oil actually oils the wood, and it will oil and hide all the scratches and dings and things, so it all blends. Anytime you have an antique and you refinish it, you destroy the value of it. Not that it won't be valuable to somebody, but it won't be as valuable as if it had the same finish on there, even though it won't look as pristine and brand new as you might want it to. But it's actually worth more if it's got the original finish.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you see cars that have been repainted and they didn't quite get that factory color right on an old car. It's like,
I got a Mustang like that. That's not quite the Mustang red, but I still like it. But You're right. People, real Mustang people will say that's not the original color, and they're right. It's a I think I like it better, actually, but the color was a little more maroon red than it was bright red, candy red.
If you listen to the show on the weekend, on Tom's show, on HomeShow Radio, you'll hear a lot of music coming in and out. And Chad, downstairs in our production department, he's the guy. He is the production department for the show, and he does a great job with it. He prides himself in knowing songs like in one or two notes or hooks or something. He'll know immediately what that song is. And he's the one who will say, I can't use that because that's not the original version. I can tell because that drum isn't quite right, or, or that keyboard isn't right. Or he'll find some little thing in it that he knows it's not the original mix of those songs. So that's just how
Must
Chad
be
is.
difficult to be Chad in life.
To be so damn good.
No, to be so aware of everything around music.
Yeah. I come in some.
Me, I just whistle and enjoy it. I don't really care what drum they used.
I come in some mornings and I'll just give him a lyric that's totally out of meter, and he'll go, oh, that's so and so by so. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. He's a whiz at those kinds of things. He's a whiz at a lot of stuff, and he's a big reason why you can even see us here, because he does a lot of our stuff here. We have, by the way, if you don't mind, Tom, a little moment here of self-promotion about what's going on around here. I'm going to talk about our the new folk we just added here to the team. As you know, Zach has traditionally done all of our web stuff, all our digital things here, and they built the website and maintains and keeps it flying. And he has hired an assistant. And of all the names in all the world, Tom, he hired another Zach. So we're a two Zach shop now. So, and then Chris down in the video department has brought on a gentleman named Mark, who's come on board, and he's going to be helping with home show videos. You're going to be seeing more of those. So that's just some of the people who are on the other side of the wall there doing all the work, while Tom and I sit here and get our tan
do the work
under the lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, and you're going to be working all weekend.
I'll be on the air all weekend, 9 to 12 Saturday and 8 to 11 on Sunday.
Yep, and then I'll join him Sunday morning for early edition, where we answer more of the questions you send us in here. And if you'd like to send us your questions, all you do is go to homeshowradio.com and click on that blue button, the Ask Tom button. It'll bring you to this page where you can then enter your question on our form, or even send in a video if you are so disposed. You can put pictures in too. We love to get the pictures because it helps us understand a little better what you're talking about. And of course, before Tom comes on Saturday, Danny Milliken will be here, along with the best home garden centers, home-owned garden centers, the family-run places here in town, the independent operators that are the Home Show Garden Pros. And you can find them over at homeshowgardenpro.com if you're looking for some of their help and advice as well. And I should probably add that if you're in the Houston area and you're looking for help, you can go over here to homeshowradio.com, where we have all our Home Show Pros cleverly hidden down here on the home page, so they're easy for you to find. Or click on the Ask a Pro button, and you'll see that we have them also organized by category, so you can find the pro that you are looking for. So I think we've pimped everything we need to pimp there. And
yes, we're ready to say goodbye.
But time to land the plane.
Yes.
So.
All right. Anyway, we appreciate y'all watching.
And I'm gonna do a little batting practice here after the show, if that's
Yes, he's gonna refuel the jets.
That's it, so to speak. All right, we'll see, and we'll be back here again live next Thursday at 4:00 on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys then.
Got a question? Ask Tom on Home Show Radio. Home Show Radio. Free advice from a pro who knows. Home Show Radio. Home Show